Hello, I'm Tony Wickenden from Technical Connection. Trusts are used mostly for when people want to make a gift, but want to make a gift in effect with strings attached. So they don't want to make an outright gift, they're looking to make a gift and retain some measure of control over, or sometimes access to, the asset that they are thinking about giving. The main types of trusts, in response to that sort of original need for trust being to give away with strings attached, are largely determined by what the individual wishes to do with the gift. So for example, where an individual wants to make a gift outright, but the person they're giving to is a minor beneficiary, and they would typically use a bare trust. If they wish to retain some control over who gets the benefit of what they're giving and when they get benefit, basically to make some choice over when and how people benefit, and they will typically use some form of discretionary trust. And therein are the main two types of trust, leaving aside charitable trusts and other specific trusts, but they're the two main types on which the variations on the trust themes are built. Well, pretty much anything can be gifted into a trust. Until relatively recently, in the retail financial planning world, you'd have found that most of the trust propositions incorporated some form of insurance product, typically an investment bond, and for many, many years, insurance protection products. Now, both of those work very well in trust now. I think what we've discovered over the years is that, of course, many more assets can be made subject to trusts, and trusts that can be made freely available to financial advisors. So if we look at the whole range of investments that can be made subject to trust, just consider what the trust can do with estate planning in connection with those investments, just as they could with investment bonds. So you could have a trust that incorporated UK or offshore collectives, as well as UK and offshore bonds, and typically trusts that can be given to children until they're age 18, for example, or 16 in Scotland. They could be put into discretionary trusts. Collectives and investment bonds can be made subject to loan trusts, where the future value of an investment is given away. Discounted gift trusts would typically only work in most cases with insurance products, but trusts involving death benefits under pension arrangements, trust giving income rights, can all be worked very well with either investment bonds or collective investments. Of course, pension funds are usually subject to their own trusts, and unfortunately ISAs, where so much money is invested, ISAs can't be made subject to trust because they can't be assigned. There is undoubtedly an extra level of complexity when a trust is involved with an investment product. It's another thing to consider. But in an RDR world where advisors will be moving and are already moved towards the more complex areas of financial advice to justify charging, it's areas of advice where clients say that they would value advice, then it's inevitable that you have to gravitate towards those more complex areas of business. Having said that, of course, the complexity is absolutely not something that advisors cannot get to grips with, or will not have studied to some degree to get their necessary qualifications anyway. And with the right guidance from the providers of trusts and the right support from those providers of trust, then if required, there is no reason why any financial planner cannot work very well and very confidently with trust, such a way that will also help them to have better and expanded relationships with other professionals. They should also be not concerned, I think, around the new tax morality that is emerging with the general anti-abuse rules and other supporting legislation, because most, if not all, of the trusts that you'll be using in a financial planning context that are made available to you will be made available on the basis that they are within existing HMRC practice and in line with existing legislation. So they should be able to be used without any fear of reprisal from new legislation that's emerging this year. It's a pleasure.